Going to change up the format a little bit, Joan. Omaha. We're going to do the Christmas music, the personalized Christmas music here, because I've got an important interview coming up at 7:35. Brian Wilson is here, of course, a special appearance by Brian here on a Friday. Brian, as you know, we've been bucking the company-mandated terrible Christmas music for our own. And in this hour, Sam is the one that is picking the Christmas music. So, Sam, go ahead real quick. That's the Eagles.
That's the Eagles, yeah.
It's the Offspring.
That's the Offspring?
Yes.
Are they an offspring of the Eagles?
That'd be an Offspray.
Oh, whatever.
This is a good one, Sam.
Yeah, this is good.
Good vibe. I like it. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Sam. Very good. The Offspring. And, Brian, just so you know, Sam is, of the three of us, Sam's have been the most terrible.
No, I like that. You know, I got a good dose of Christmas music last night. I saw Nashville Royalty, and it was a fantastic concert at the Ryman. It's the Vince and Amy, Amy Grant, Vince Gill.
Oh, you got to see that.
Yeah. My sister is in town. She got us tickets, and we went. And I got to tell you, I don't know what kind of deal that Vince Gill made with the devil, but the guy is timeless. He doesn't age. He's 68 years old, and his voice. Perfection.
It's pristine. His voice is still pristine. I saw him with the Eagles.
So good. He's so good. And Amy comes out and she's just stunning. I mean, she just, everybody sort of gasps. She's so beautiful when she walks out, and she's still in good voice. And it was a great show. Amy Grant, though, has a mean streak, I've decided.
Really?
I know. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, everybody thinks Amy Grant. She's like an angel. Everybody loves Amy Grant. She got a mean streak. There's a moment where they bring out these. I don't know. I don't think they were styrofoam, but they were fake snowballs. And as they were doing Winter Wonderland or something, and she's just throwing these basket full of snowballs out into the audience. It was vicious. Throwing those snowballs out there.
So what you're saying is she does not throw like a girl.
No, she hummed that ball. She hummed that fake snowball. So anyway, great show, by the way. And I guess I recommend it to everybody.
I guess Vince Gill forgot that you were on the list, Brian, because the restraining order. Because people, longtime listeners to Nashville's Morning News, know that Brian, for like 3 years...
I've been trying to get an interview with Vince Gill forever, and really what I'm really trying to weasel is I want to see his guitar collection. It's really said to be remarkable, and apparently, only a few selected people, and so far I have not been one of them. But, I continue to hope that next year will be the year that I get to see the Vince Gill guitar collection. But let me tell you, by the way, his guitar playing, has always been exquisite. I mean, he just is a master of the instrument. But lately, I've noticed he's approaching the guitar in sort of a minimalist way, and every note is just choice. He's just at the peak as far as I'm concerned, of his skills, and it was a great show.
All right, now on to business.
Business. I'm sorry.
So, no, it's all good. Donald Trump seizes a Venezuelan tanker. I love this. I think this is one of my favorite stories of the week.
Well, let's talk about how that hurts Maduro. It hurts him bad because, he is funded by oil revenues. And if you shut off his oil revenues, he doesn't stay in power very long. It's also interesting that this particular tanker is sort of an unflagged tanker. And they were actually giving false GPS data about where its location was. And so they were trying to confuse, they were trying to hide this shipment of oil. It's about 2 million barrels of oil. It's a lot of oil. And so not only did he shut down Maduro, it hurts the places that this oil was going. I think this particular shipment may have been bound for Cuba. Other shipments on the ship is made go to, doing the business of Iran, smuggling oil into China, into Russia. So, you're hurting those people who have now lost a supply of oil. By the way, when you're doing these sort of illicit runs with tankers full of oil, they sell it at a cheap price.
Yep.
So that's why people are willing to take the chance. They can get a lot of oil at like $15 less a barrel in order, to fulfill their needs. So it hurts Maduro, it hurts China, it hurts Russia, it hurts Iran. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think he's within his rights to do that, and I'm supportive of it. So
this boat, the skipper, had been sanctioned for a long time, and so it's nice to show, number one, a little peace through strength. That's number one. And number two, it's nice to see a president, because remember, Biden allowed Iran to sell all of that oil, and Iran made billions, and then they used that money to fund terrorism and ultimately attacked Israel.
Right.
So, I love what he's doing. Now, the next question is, do you predict that the president will send ground troops into Venezuela?
I don't know if there will be troops on the ground, but I think the targets on the ground might get hit. For example, if you wanted to, if you feel like you are coming to a point where there may be a conflict between Maduro and Trump, the one thing you'd want to do is take out some of their capabilities. So I would suspect if something happens, it'll be like taking out their defensive systems, their missile systems, etc. And quite frankly, I'm pretty sure we know exactly where the narco terrorists are operating out of. I mean, if we don't, I'd be very surprised. And so, if we go after some of those targets, I'm okay with it. Boots on the ground, I don't feel like that's probably on the horizon, but who knows?
One of the things, and I don't know why, you covered Washington, D.C. for a long time. President Trump clearly said they would release the video of that double tap. Remember that? He said, I'm going to release it. Then he said, I didn't say that. You said that. Why don't they release this video of the double tap? I mean, it seems like
these things always come out anyway. So, I would just go ahead and release it and own it. But because it's hard for Americans to see this because we're not used to seeing this kind of thing. But this kind of thing has been going on with past presidents, Democrat and Republican, around the world. We take out people that we see to be a national security threat. And I think he's on good, solid ground to say that these drug boats are a threat to our national security. And so is the continued funding of the Maduro regime by selling all this oil. So I think he's within his rights to do it. Congress, again, has taken up a very, very unpopular position because the American people have said in one survey that I saw recently, 62% of Americans can't agree on anything.
Right.
And yet 62% of Americans believe that it's the right thing to do to take out these drug boats. Again, the Democrats have taken a position that is unpopular with the American people. When will they ever learn?
You know what, O'Brien, a couple of other things I want to touch on. You more than likely saw that the Indiana state legislature has decided not. And this is a supermajority Republican.
Yep.
And they have decided to not gerrymander out 2 Democrat districts. You surprised by that?
I'm a little surprised by it. I mean, everybody seems to be taking that position, and the Supreme Court seems to be unwilling to go in there and say that the action is wrong. If everybody's gonna do it, the Dems are going to do it for sure. You can be sure of that in California. They're going to do everything they can. But we do have the upper hand. I would think when you look at the congressional map, I think we could eliminate a lot of these little tiny blue islands, in a sea of red, which happens around the country. Metropolitan areas are largely very often very blue, and everything that surrounds them, like Nashville, is very red. I'm shocked. I mean, I don't know what goes on in when you cross that line between, let's say, Davidson County and Williamson County, but it's dramatically different. The voting is very different, and people in the city, man, they're about as blue as they get. I think that this kind of stuff is probably going to happen. The Democrats are going to take advantage where they can, and I think we as Republicans should do the same.
We have to. I was tremendously disappointed in Indiana. All right, real quick, Kilmar Abrego Garcia, WTH.
Well, here's the thing about Garcia. I don't think this is a done deal. First of all, you got to acknowledge that the judge is absolutely an appointee of Barack Obama. This Zinnis, Zinis, Judge Zinnis. Mm-hmm. He determined that he should be released because there was no final order of removal in place.
Yeah,
however,
I don't
the
understand
case was
that.
ongoing.
Right. I'm so baffled by that. Jonathan Fahey was on earlier.
I think this is going to get overturned. I really do. I think, smarter people and better legal minds. This is judicial activism, I think, at its worst. But, I mean, how in the world can you say, well, I'm going to let him go because there's no final order removal when the case is actually still in process?
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make a lick of sense to me.
Other than that, though, Trump is, he's been plowing right along, moving right along.
2.5 million people have either decided to leave the country voluntarily or have been exported involuntarily.
Yep.
And some, I forget, 85,000 visas have been revoked. And these are people who have committed crimes or in our country. Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty, the Secretary of State has a tremendous amount of ability to revoke visas. He doesn't have to check in with anybody. He can just do it for whatever reason he thinks is a good reason.
Yeah.
And these people are all charged with crimes or have a criminal background, it would seem. So, yeah, he's making progress. There's like 20 million or more illegals in this country. Mm-hmm. And, they didn't all get here in one day. It's going to take a while to get them out of here, but at least progress is being made. 2.5 million, if you get the worst of the worst, that helps. That helps a lot.
Do you know what I find interesting is there's been a lot of chatter about, the president, I was talking about this earlier, where the president was accused of deporting this guy from South Korea. Turns out he's self-deported, but everybody was, up in arms about the fact that the president supposedly deported this guy. But you know what gets me, Brian, and it is really frustrating, is the media up in arms about a guy who was supposedly deported but wasn't. But, the media is always silent when it comes to all of these illegal alien gang members and rapists and assaulters who do terrible things, and they're not deported, which has certainly been happening, under Joe Biden. It happened sort of under Barack Obama, but nobody's ever up in arms about the people that don't get deported, except for conservatives and talk show hosts.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all. It would seem it was in our best interest, to secure our borders. He promised he was going to do it. He's doing it. Shut up. How can you be against a man who told you what he was going to do? Yep. The American people embraced it and elected him. And by gosh, surprise, 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 the man gets into office and does what he said he's going to do. Should be not a surprise to anybody. But again, it's the Democrats. They take these very unpopular positions, and Trump is on the popular side. They're on the unpopular side, and mainly, I think they hate anything that Trump does, regardless of what it is, whether it makes sense or not. I don't understand how they expect to win in the midterms if they keep embracing incredibly unpopular positions simply because they're the opposite of what Donald Trump believes.
All right, Brian, next week, Monday through Thursday, you are filling in for me. Thank you. You got your alarm clock ready and your coffee and all that stuff?
Did. Although this morning when the alarm clock went off, I kept, Don, turn off your alarm. Then I realized it was mine.
Yes, well, you have fun with that. I'll be sleeping in. I'm back on Friday.
Enjoy your time off. Well deserved.
I want to welcome on into the program Nina Schaefer. Now, Nina covers health care for the Heritage Foundation. She's been on with us before. Nina, always great to have you on. I'm trying to figure out what in the world happened yesterday in the Senate. So it looks like the Senate voted down competing partisan bills at addressing the impending expiration of these enhanced premium tax credits under Obamacare. So let's talk about because neither one of these are going to happen. But I do want to talk about what each side wants to do. So the Democrats, basically what they wanted to do was have a 3-year extension of these enhanced subsidies.
Well, I'm not sure how much well, first, thank you for having me. I'm not sure how much your listeners kind of understand the background of how we got to this place. So maybe I can spend a few minutes on that. If you watch the coverage of what's happening here, you would think that all this entire debate is focused on expiring ACA subsidies. The first thing listeners need to understand is that these are COVID-era subsidies that were put in place during the Biden administration to, quote unquote, help offset costs for people when COVID, when they shut down the country and people couldn't go to work, didn't have jobs, et cetera. So those were temporary subsidies that were set to expire. But the Biden administration yet again extended them again in the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yep.
That should have been a signal to everyone that their intention was not to let these subsidies go away, and that their real focus was an intention to actually expand Obamacare under the guise of a COVID subsidy. So the coverage here is all about these COVID-era subsidies that are set to expire. The reality that I think this debate has thankfully exposed is that Obamacare, now 15 years in, has really shown that it hasn't delivered in the promises that it said it would. Premiums are going up, deductibles are soaring, individuals have fewer plan choices than they did before Obamacare, and they actually have less access to the kind of care they want. The Democrats' proposal, as you've highlighted, their intention was just to whistle by the problem and just say, let's just throw more money at Obamacare. Let's tell people, we've got them covered. We'll give more money to Obamacare. But that does nothing to actually change the underlying policy challenges that are facing Obamacare. And I think that's one of the biggest deficiencies of their approach. They just threw more money at it. They offered no policy changes. They just said, everything's fine. All we need is more money. That's actually the opposite of what we need. What they need to do is really reopen the bill and start to work in a collaborative way, I think, with Republicans, and really figure out what are the policy changes we need to see. And that's what the Republicans tried to introduce, is to say, let's reopen Obamacare a little bit and let's see what we can do to make things work for the long term.
So, yeah, and President Trump, I'm sure you saw this, Nina Schaefer joining us from the Heritage Foundation talking about Obamacare, where Trump actually came out, I think it was last night, and he extended that olive branch and said that he wants to work with Democrats to make Obamacare better. Now, apparently, and I'm hoping you can help me understand this, what the Republicans want to do is they want to, I guess, let the tax credits expire and instead provide up to $1,500 per year in contributions to health savings accounts, HSAs, for individuals earning less than $1,500 per year. Earning less than 700% of the federal poverty level, roughly $110,000 for an individual, or $225,000 for a family of 4. So in other words, it sounds to me like what the president wants to do is just, give, and Republicans want to give people $1,500 to contribute to these health savings accounts. And then what that does, you can use that to pay for your insurance.
Yeah, I think the president's gut reaction to all this from the very beginning was spot on. He said, we want to make sure people have control of the healthcare dollars, not insurance plan and not the government. That is really a critical change in the status quo mindset that people have on Obamacare. Again, the Democrat proposal is all about just throwing more money at the problem and sweeping by it. What the president is saying is we need a different way of thinking about how we want this healthcare to be delivered. And so the Republican plan made a small kind of initial approach on this, focusing just on the Obamacare system. But I think what's underlying in trying to provide, as you correctly described, money so that people could, if they have a health savings account in Obamacare, they can start using that to either offset some of the deductibles, shop for lower cost care, et cetera. That is a great step in the right direction. But I think what also President Trump has identified is this is not just a problem in Obamacare. Actually, healthcare costs are rising across the board, some of which are as a result of what happened with Obamacare. It has a spillover effect. And so I think that he's really setting a bigger vision of what the healthcare system should look like, which is one that it is patient-centered, that people can control the dollars and decisions in their healthcare, and really force the healthcare infrastructure and establishment, healthcare establishment, to start responding back to the patients instead of to themselves.
It sounds like, though, just final question here, Nina. It sounds like we've got the Democrats, and I feel like, number one, they're being very prideful. They're the ones that, started Obamacare with obviously Barack Obama, and they want to, continue with the illegal aliens, getting health care benefits and so forth. And so I think that pride in politics are getting in the way of the Democrats working with Republicans to find a solution, because to work with the Republicans would mean that the Democrats would be admitting that they're wrong. So I'm almost just wondering if there's ever going to be a solution to Obamacare because of the pride of the Democrats.
I think you've hit a really interesting point. If you look at the vote yesterday in the Senate, there were not one Democrat voted for the Republican plan. They stood just in line with themselves. But if you look on the Republican side, some of them extended an olive branch and said, look, if this is what we do to help the people that have these enhanced subsidies, we're willing to work. They voted for the Democrat plan as well. They voted for both. So I do think that it's shocking that there are many senators who have admitted that maybe there's some things in Obamacare aren't working, that this really hasn't fixed anything, and that maybe we need to reopen it, but yet their proposal did not reflect that. And so I do think that it is an opportunity for perhaps some bipartisanship. There are a lot of policy ideas, whether it's on price transparency so that patients know how much they would have to pay before they get their procedures, whether it's even health savings accounts, allowing people to use health savings accounts in a more flexible way. Those are two ideas that actually have bipartisan support. So I think that there are opportunities if people would actually just focus on how do we fix what's wrong in the healthcare system, both inside Obamacare and outside Obamacare. And as you said, move away from the politics and the posturing on this and actually work together to find a way to help the American people with the healthcare costs.
And Nina, always great to have you on. Have a great weekend. And if we don't talk to you, Merry Christmas.
You too. Thanks for having me.
All righty, 7:45. I cannot believe. Joan, have you seen, just real quick, have you seen there's two stories that I'm going to talk about coming up next. The local Oklahoma Black Lives Matter leader that has now been indicted on all that fraud. You couple that with what we are now finding out about the Somalians and what they spent their money on.
Does any of this surprise you at all?
No, it doesn't surprise me at all. So I'm going to start with the Oklahoma Black Lives Matter leader. She has now been indicted by a federal grand jury for charges of wire fraud and embezzlement after accusations that she used funds meant for social justice causes for her own personal benefits. Nuh-uh.
Get out of here.
Was she buying large mansions too, like the rest of them over there at BLM?
You know what? Also, where did that money come from? It's
donations from grants and donations from companies.
So this is partially taxpayer money, right?
Well, yeah, if there was government grants, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
It's infuriating. It is infuriating.
How many times are we going to hear stories like this? And the thing with Black Lives Matter, that whole thing was just a righteous shakedown. I mean, that was Black Lives Matter going to companies and saying, you must donate to our cause or we're going to, destroy your company, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And there's still companies that donate to this crap. That's the amazing thing. It's like, how long have we been talking about the fraud of Black Lives Matter? I mean, it's been years now, right?
Yes.
Because wasn't that whole Black Lives Matter thing, it was 2020? George Floyd, 2020?
Yeah.
And so that went on for a couple of years. And then we started finding out about the whole buy large mansion stuff. And a lot of the money was it disappeared. And so there's been a lot of fraud. I mean, this woman accused of embezzling more than $3 million in funds, 20 counts of wire fraud. She is accused of using the funds to pay for recreational travel to Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic, food and groceries for herself and her children. That's a lot of food. And by looking at her.
Did you look at her? I mean,
I sure
honestly.
did. I didn't want to say it, Joan.
Okay, I'll do it.
And retail shopping, a personal vehicle, and 6 properties in Oklahoma City.
Oh,
6 properties
my gosh.
in Oklahoma City.
Bet she's renting them out and making a profit.
This woman could face up to 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine
That's not enough.
for wire fraud. Oh, it's absolutely not enough. I mean, this is just, it's par for the course.
So
It is par for the course. Now,
we know how corrupt this is, right?
oh, yeah.
So why does Nashville still have a Black Lives Matter intersection?
I mean,
The mural on Woodland Street?
I don't know.
Why?
I saw that. I have no idea. As a matter of fact, wasn't that outlawed? I thought that was. Didn't they? Sam, check me on this. Somebody's going to. I didn't know you were going to bring that up, Joan. I thought that was illegal. No, it's fine.
Yeah.
I thought that was illegal to do now. Didn't the Justice Department say they weren't allowed to do that anymore? I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't remember that, but
She blames, by the way, I love this. She says, whatever happens, the work don't stop. Dickerson said in a video streamed live to social media after the court appearance.
that's so typical.
She blamed haters
Yeah.
for the indictment and said she was speaking on Facebook to let her family and friends know she was okay. Who paid for that computer? Right? I mean, that's what I want to know.
Yep.
So then you have not only that story, but now we're finding out more about what the Somalis, it's Somalis, right?
Somalis. Mm-hmm.
I keep, people have been saying Somalians and
I see,
Somalis
yeah.
and whatever. Somalis rhymes with tamales. Luxury cars, private villas, thank you. I knew it. I knew the second I said it, that was wrong. Luxury cars, private
We
villas.
love you, Dan.
I've never stayed in a villa or villa.
Well, private villas would have private villas. Via Spanish for view
There you go. Thank you.
or vista.
Overseas wire transfers as well. So hundreds of millions in taxpayer dollars. They spent it on, again, it's the same thing. Luxury cars, jewelry, property. Videos show these Somalis popping champagne at an opulent Maldives resort. In a text message, one defendant boasts, "You are going to be the richest 25-year-old, God willing." Lakefront property in Minnesota. Let's see here. First-class tickets to Istanbul and Amsterdam. A 2021 Porsche Macan. Macan?
Yeah, McCann.
Macan?
Mm-hmm.
How much is a 2021 Porsche Macan? I'm just curious. Stacks of cash texted between defendants as well. So these Somalis, I mean, they had no shame, man. They were making it rain with taxpayer dollars.
Oh, yeah.
You think they're actually going to spend any time in jail?
$53,000 car.
$53,000 car.
That's the base model.
They are saying that this could be, I think, is it already, this story's fallen off my radar just because I think we know. But is this the biggest fraud that we've seen in American history? Is it? I don't know. I mean, it's very close. Certainly with Minnesota, it's the biggest amount of fraud that we've seen in Minnesota. I played audio from somebody a couple of days ago, forget who it was, but they are saying this could be the biggest amount of fraud we have seen in America ever. And I don't know, but they're still uncovering it. They're still uncovering. They're saying that there is just layer after layer after layer of fraudulent, crooked Somalis.
It may be at the face value of the dollar amount, but Grok is going to say that the subprime mortgage fraud in 2008, when adjusted for inflation, was an $850 billion scheme, and then the Bernie Madoff Ponzi scheme, $65 billion, adjusted for inflation, $90 billion, and then the Enron scandal. It has a couple. But
But this is different because this is fraud, fraudulent against like the government utilizing, taxpayer money, COVID and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. This just feels different to me. Like I get Enron and Bernie Madoff and all that. I totally get it. For whatever reason, this feels different to me than that. And that absolutely criminal. Don't get me wrong. But this just the absolute arrogance of these Somalis coming into our country. There's one story that I have. Chris Hand may have it today, but there's one story that I have where a Somali went to Minnesota. They literally told this guy, no, don't assimilate. What we do here in Minnesota, what we do here in America is we actually don't assimilate and we just rip off the government. That's what we do. That's the name of our game, and that's how we roll. The Somalians, the Somalis in Minnesota, and there's just no shame. And again, the arrogance of these Somalis. And I hope these people either, which is worse, sending them back to Somalia or sending them to prison here in America?
I think sending them back to Somalia.
I think prison in America is too comfortable either way.
I think so too.
I think you take them out of their comfort zone, you drop them in the middle of Siberia.
Plus, why would we want to pay for them to have all their meals?
Great point, Joan.
Anymore?
Great point.
Incarcerating them costs money. Send them off.
Oh, and they're going to claim religious exception on so many things that would be offered there, too.
Yeah. And don't forget, and I covered this, I think it was yesterday, but don't forget that there is also that discussion about how the guy that monitored Somalia's economy, such as it is, for like 4 years from the United Nations, actually said that money absolutely went to Al-Shabaab, because Al-Shabaab acts as a secondary government. And so they go and the remittances go back to Somalia. And then Al-Shabaab goes to the farmers and the shopkeepers and they take portions of that money. It's like a tax. So there's absolutely no doubt that these Somalis bought fancy cars, bought properties, did all kinds of fraud, sent it back to Somalia, and Al-Shabaab certainly got their cut as well.